Alright guys, welcome to Alan Wake. This is my first video trying to do a different format for the channel. So the way this series at least is going to work for Alan Wake is I wanted to do like a normal a lore video, but with the way this game's set up, you can't really do lore videos the way I thought you could. I thought collectibles had more of a focus around like the world and stuff. And like the Night Springs collectible does, but the other collectibles don't really have a focus around it. So basically what I'm going to do with this series is each episode you guys watch is going to be an episode of the game. And I'm going to kind of summarize what happens and things like that. I'm going to just summarize my playthrough basically, but also give a summary of the game. And then once we're done with all of these playthroughs, or all of these episodes, I will go back, or I won't go back, but I'll make another video, and it'll just summarize the entirety of the game. And then I'll try to do something similar with Alan Wake 2. I don't know how that's going to work just yet. But with that being said, let's get into it. So we start with Alan Wake, talking about his nightmares and the lighthouse he's trying to get to. About the lighthouse he's trying to get to in his dream. And then he hits a hitchhiker, as you can see on the screen here. He turns around and the man is gone. And that's the start of episode 1. As soon as you start controlling Alan, you can see that you're in this nightmarish world. You have one goal, it's to get to the lighthouse. A dark entity appears by the car as you start walking away. Then he's right in front of you swinging an axe. The entity is ranting about Alan killing people when it adds to the drama of his own creation. And this lets you realize that the entity that's talking to Alan is in fact a character from his story. You run, and he pursues and swings at you. Alan dodges and keeps forward towards the lighthouse, realizing it is the character from his story. The entity is destroying everything behind you as you run across a bridge. You see this figure in front of you. The bridge behind you collapses. The figure in front of you is Clay Stewart. He asks you if you remember him and points you into a house in front of you. You enter, and the entity appears, but Clay is stuck outside. The TV turns on, and eyes appear, and it says die, 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 die. An explosion happens and the door opens. The light appears and you follow. The light says you are hurt and the only safe place is the light. This teaches you that light heals Alan. Throughout the game, you'll find generators, and you can activate them, and it'll turn on the light, and that will heal you. You shine the light at the entity, revealing a man, but the darkness still controls him inside. You are then given a revolver, which you use to kill the man. The light also tells you a riddle, and to follow it. The light says it's entered your dream to teach us about the darkness. The light leaves, as this is all he can teach you, and he gives us back our dream. Alan says in the dream, darkness took over the world, and the lighthouse is the last safe place, and you need to head that way, while fighting off more dark entities. On the way, you find a box with a flare inside. 3 entities appear. You shoot a flare, destroying all of them. The main entity from the beginning appears, destroying everything as he walks. You run to the lighthouse, dodging vehicles as he throws them at you. You get in the lighthouse, but the light goes out, and you see from the perspective of an entity going at you, and then you wake up. You are awoken by your wife, Alice, who tells you that you have arrived. Where exactly? The charming town of Bright Falls. She asks you to stand near a man so she can get a shot of the man. And then the man greets himself and tells him he recognizes Alan, the famous writer. You ask him to not tell anyone you've arrived, and he agrees. Barry calls asking if your creative juices are flowing yet. You tell him that you just have arrived. You leave the ferry and are dropped off at a local diner. You're looking for Carl Stuckey, and the waitress is losing her mind as she loves your books and cherishes everything you write. In this diner you find the first of 100 collectibles, which are the thermoses of coffee. You turn the jukebox on for an old man who can't get up due to bad circulation. You go to the bathroom to find Carl Stuckey, and an old lady appears, hoping you have a good time at her cabin and informing that Carl is ill. But something's not right with this woman. Anyway, you leave the diner to head for the cabin. Carl Stuckey comes out of the diner chasing after you just as you're leaving, but he's just out of distance. He's trying to give you the keys. Does this mean you're heading to the wrong cabin? As you head to this mysterious cabin, Alan explains how he hasn't written anything in 2 years and expresses self-doubt. You arrive at the cabin and find an old generator. You turn it on, and the power comes on. Alan expresses that he can feel happy and right here at this cabin. You enter the cabin and find a shoebox full of Thomas Zane books. Alan has no idea who this author is, though. You head to the back porch and turn on the radio to find that the waitress is on the talk show, and she is telling the radio host about your interaction, which frustrates Alan, as he didn't want to be known that he was in town. You head upstairs and your wife Alice surprises you with the typewriter, and this frustrates Alan, and she wants to send him to a doctor to help him be creative again. Alan storms off into the night, knowing she wouldn't follow. Alice screams as soon as Alan heads too far. Alan runs towards the cabin, and as you do so, you are attacked by darkness. Crows. The crows are corrupted with darkness. You shine a light and keep running. You enter to find Alice has fallen into the lake. You dive in after her and wake up in a crashed car. You don't know how you got there, but Alice is gone and the phone is dead. You start walking to see a gas station in the distance, but you have to go through a long hike in the forest, so you start heading that way. As you're walking off, the car falls off a cliff. You see a light. Thinking it's a person, you run and talk to it. But as you walk up, a bunch of papers fall from the sky, and the title on them is a book. Is Alan's book that he was writing about an axe murder in the forest. These are the first of 2 of 106 manuscript collectibles that tell the story Alan was trying to write. As you're walking, you see a figure in the fog, and then it's gone. You find a lumber yard and lights are on. You think there may be a phone inside. You find Carl Stuckey, but he has an axe, and is completely covered in darkness and has just killed a man. He vanishes, though, into the night. You find another manuscript page which tells you these entities are called the Taken. Carl chases, and you enter a building and find a revolver and flashlight. You know how to deal with him because your dream earlier. You find a phone and call the sheriff, but Carl destroys the phone lines and he uses a logging machine to push the building off a cliff. Alan barely escapes. You head further into the logging camp and are attacked by more Taken. You find graffiti only seen with your flashlight, and these lead to the first supply chest of the game. You find another manuscript page talking about Alan's interactions with the waitress. Does this mean that we are in his story? A flash appears of the woman who gave you the keys to the cabin, and of Alice's body in the water. You hear a sound and don't know what it is. The next manuscript talks about Barry arriving at Bright Falls as he hadn't heard from Alan or Alice in days, and was worried because Alan's unstable. You find more graffiti saying the Taken are full of darkness. You find a broken staircase and a generator which reveals a light source and a blinking light. You find another manuscript close to this generator talking about the birds that we got attacked by earlier. In the same room we find a shotgun. You head to the blinking light which lets you control a machine to make a bridge out of logs. You find a radio with a man calling the radio host, and he's talking about how he can't find his dog and he doesn't know where it is. On your path, you find another manuscript that talks about Alan finding the pages and how he hunts them to uncover the truth and save Alice. On your path to the gas station, you are attacked by 10 or so enemies. As you keep going, you find another manuscript about Alan entering the gas station and seeing himself ranting like a madman on the TV. You find a building on the side of your path. Inside is resources and a TV playing Night Springs, which is like the Twilight Zone in the Alan Wake universe. This is one of 14 of these collectible TVs. You flip a switch, heading deeper in the logging area, and pick up a manuscript. This one talks about Alan meeting the sheriff and how the sheriff helped him get out of the woods. But he can't tell the sheriff the truth, or she won't help him find Alice because she won't believe him. As you go through the gate, the first boss fight starts against Carl Stuckey, who has more health and can teleport with shadows, and there's about a dozen of the Taken during this fight as well. After your relentless battle with Carl, you continue on, noting that his body has disappeared, so there's no proof. In front of the gas station, you find a manuscript page talking about Carl Stuckey changing into the Taken. You find a sign about Deerfest, which makes Alan realize he's missed a week since he first arrived in Bright Falls, and now. Alan enters the garage attached to the gas station to find him on TV, ranting madly, just like the manuscript from earlier. Was Alan losing his mind? Alan uses the phone in the gas station to call the sheriff department. The sheriff arrives, named Sarah Breaker, and Alan explains what happened. She told him the cabin doesn't exist. There is no cabin on the lake. He falls to the ground in disbelief, and the sheriff asks him where Stuckey is. Alan doesn't tell her, as she wouldn't believe him anyway. She takes Alan to the lake and finds that the cabin isn't there.
Among Alice's things was a book.
And that is how episode 1 of Alan Wake ends. So, that is the summary for episode 1 of Alan Wake. Let me know your thoughts on this style of video. And let me know how I can improve going forward. This is my first time trying to do a video like this, but I think this is a very good system that could work in the future. I summarized about 2.5 hours of gameplay into about 10 minutes. So let me know if you guys want more content like this, or if you enjoyed this video, and let me know what other games I should make this kind of video about. Here in a few days, you should be seeing episode 2 of Alan Wake. And then, like I said at the beginning, once we're done with all of them, including the 2 DLCs, I will do like a full summary video on the game. But yeah, with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys want to see on the channel in the future. And I'll see you guys very soon in the next one. Stay safe out there.